Welcome back to Mighty Mac on YouTube. If you're enjoying the content that we provide here, be sure to subscribe to the channel today so you don't miss any of the action in the upcoming months as we head to Norwalk for the Summer Equipment Racing Nationals, as well as the NHRA summer calendar throughout the rest of the season, running up to the 70th edition of the US Nationals. So if you like drag racing, if you like the NHRA, if you like the updates they're providing, be sure to subscribe today to the channel and click the notification bell so you don't miss any of the content coming up. Without further ado, let's get into the video. So an update has been released just now of the condition of John Force following his incident on Sunday during round 1 of eliminations at the Virginia Nationals at Virginia Motorsports Park. If you have somehow missed what had happened, John Force suffered a very serious and violent crash during round 1 of eliminations versus Terry Haddock, which saw him explode and have two very major impacts with both sides of the guard wall at the top end of the racetrack, which then saw him have to be helped out of the car by the safety safari and first responders and then taken to a hospital. We first had the reports that he was in fact taken to the hospital to be evaluated. It was then updated that he was going to be staying overnight. There was a comment from Brittany Force that she kind of confirmed that he was going to be okay. She was holding his hand in the ambulance and that he was going to bounce back like he always does. Just now, about 20 minutes ago from the time of recording, we have now had a further update provided from John Force Racing on the condition of the patriarch of the team and the driver of the Peak Chevrolet Funny Car Camaro. The statement reads as following. I'll read the full statement and then we will dive in further to what this can mean moving forward, not just in terms of John Force, but in terms of the championship as well as what could be happening with that team. So the statement goes as following. Drag racing champion John Force remained in the intensive care unit at a Virginia hospital Monday following a catastrophic engine failure that sent his funny car slamming into a concrete guard wall at 302 miles per hour during the first round of Sunday's NHRA Virginia Nationals at Virginia Motorsports Park. After NHRA safety safari personnel extracted and stabilized the 16-time champion, he was transported by medical helicopter to a trauma hospital where he was still being observed and evaluated on Monday. Attending doctors purposely removing slowly and assessing the extent of the injuries to the Hall of Fame owner and driver because of the intensity of the impact. Medical staff will not provide a treatment and recovery timetable until a total evaluation is completed. Force's daughters Brittany, a two-time world champion, was joined at the hospital by her mother Lori and sisters Adria, Ashley, and Courtney. The family will maintain a presence while the team competes this weekend in Norwalk, Ohio. Updates on the 157-time tour winner's condition will be released at the discretion of the medical staff. So, a lot to go over in this statement. There's still, like I said, no update on the condition of John Force. The one thing I can take away from this is the fact that they said they were purposely moving slowly to assess the injuries due to the intensity of the impact, which don't blame them one bit. You're talking about hitting a concrete wall at 302 miles an hour at the very end of the racetrack. That was a very, very hard impact. Even if it was a safer barrier, that was going to hurt regardless, and he was going to be feeling that for a while. I said it yesterday. The only thing I'd speculate on is a concussion because of how hard the impact was, and going off of this, maybe a little bit more towards that, but that's pure speculation. That I'm only going to be going over that just because of how hard of those two impacts were. Plus the concussion from the explosion as well. Drivers have talked about in the past of how those explosions affect them mentally getting out of the car just because of how big it is sitting with the engine right in front of you. So no surprise whatsoever if there is a concussion to John Force. Whether or not he has that will be released at a later date. But regardless, you really hate to see it. He's been having such a good season so far, a really good rebound heading into this event, and still looking very strong. He's currently second in the points behind Austin Prock. Even after winning round 1 and not being able to compete in round 2, he still sits second, 131 points behind Prock. He looked really good to possibly win this championship, and depending on the timetable when he returns, you know, the questions kind of arise now with the whole deal of eligibility, because you have to be in the top 10 or have the minimum amount of qualifying results completed. I know that it was said that Alan Reinhart stated that there is a rule that they can have a substitute driver in the car and they still earn points for John. Whether or not they're going to do that, I guess, is going to be determined at a later date. They have a very short turnaround time to get to Norwalk, which is the next event on the tour, which is this weekend, which we'll be covering live at the track, and we'll try to give you any sort of updates on what's going on at that time. But this is going to be a huge impact on that team, because with the way that they're describing this, maintaining a presence at the track, with how hard the impact was, with the fact that they're moving slowly, with the fact that he more likely is still there, I would highly doubt that he's going to be competing this weekend at all. There have been a lot of drivers this weekend making get well soon posts, so it's more than likely the case that he is not going to be competing. Whether that car is competing is a whole nother story. They might bring the trailer with them. They've done stuff like that in the past in other circumstances where they bring it there just so the guys are there, just so that way everything can seem normal. Whether or not there's going to be somebody in that car will be completely announced at a later date. But still, you hate to see it. There's is still kind of a preliminary announcement as to what's going to be going on. Whether somebody's going to be driving that car substituting for him, still yet to be seen. Whether or not John's going to come back, still yet to be seen. There's still a lot of unknowns to this, and because of the severity of this accident, that's as far as I'm going to speculate with that. On a lighter news, I'm not going to say not as important, but compared to this, Leah Pruitt and Tony Stewart did announce today that Leah is actually pregnant, so congratulations to them. They are expecting to have that child by November. Someone threw out a nickname that I thought was really funny, called him Smolder, or Little Smoke. I really enjoyed that. So congratulations to them. Happy for them. Can't wait to see how that unravels as well for Leah Stewart Racing. So that's pretty much it for the video. If there's any more updates tomorrow, I will have a video out tomorrow night or on Wednesday or Thursday. And then, of course, we'll be covering the Summit Racing Equipment NHRA Nationals from Norwalk, Ohio. So, if you enjoy the content, subscribe to the channel today so you don't miss any of the content going into this weekend and any updates on this developing story. Follow the social media page, MyNameMichael3, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, where we'll be posting any sort of updates that get released from either NHRA or John Force Racing. And until, hopefully, the Summit Racing Equipment NHRA Nationals, this is Mighty Mac. We'll see you next time.